this guy said, I can't eat breakfast because the bacon and the eggs are in the same tray, and that's why he had a bad game.
Right. I just,
Yeah.
Looking at routines, and everyone wants routines, it'd be nice, but sometimes you got to break it. Sometimes it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And I think it's probably one of the main reasons, not the players have the routines, but it takes pitchers a while to get ready for starting pitchers to get ready for the game. I think that's why most doubleheaders, if not all doubleheaders, are originally day-night doubleheaders and not scheduled as straight unless you've got a weather situation.
So, look, you mentioned the AJ Hinch said and talked about Lorenzen and the Twins series coming up, and I'd set a goal of just try to be, in the ballpark of the Twins come the Twins series. There's a chance to do that if they sweep today, right? But here's the problem. The problem is when we said that, they had Riley Green and Eduardo Rodriguez pitching lights out. And those things have stopped happening, obviously, because they're both hurt. And so even if they sweep today, which seems unlikely, going into the Twin Series without basically their best hitter and their best pitcher on a team that already has a small margin for error doesn't exactly get the juices flowing for me, unfortunately.
No, they're in a tough spot right now, and it is really unfortunate. And in a 9-game losing streak, you can't tell me that they wouldn't have won a game or two if these guys had been healthy. But every team goes through their injuries. A couple of weeks ago, they showed a stat on TV that showed that the Tigers actually had been, I think, the worst team in the league when it came to injuries.
Is that right?
Yeah. So we can look at this and say, yeah, we've got an issue. But the Twins, where they're going to be playing tomorrow, they've got their own injury issues. Every team has to deal with them. Do you have the depth in the organization to handle it? Well, this is a team that, I think even the best projections for this upcoming season were a 500 team. So you're not saying it's necessarily a good team to begin with or a deep team to begin with. And then you take some of those starters away that actually were stars for this team, like Rodriguez and Riley Green, and that's doubly tough. This is where you talk about wins above replacement.
Yeah.
You're seeing it. It's really a depth statistic.
Yeah. Well, bottom line here is hopefully they can at least flirt with making interest by sweeping the games today. Last night was another one of those weird rainouts where it looked like the sun was out, but rain was coming, and then it poured, and then it stopped. And then I know fans that come down for these things when they don't see rain, but the tarp's on the field. It can be frustrating, but, I mean, it is what it is.
Well, yeah, but the problem was it was coming down, like, sporadically, but at times it came down extraordinarily hard. And I know certainly in my house it was like that, but then I'm also looking at like, hey, it stopped raining. Maybe they can probably get this game in. And then you can see a shot of the tarp, and the tarp is waving and it's all wet. I think they did what they could last night. They thought they were going to be able to get it in, and then they got another big rush of rain late. And it just said, all right, enough's enough. We'll just do it tomorrow.
Well, anyway, we'll be down here today leading into Tiger baseball. Monty Williams introduced yesterday as Piston head coach, and sort of the timeline of how it all went down was kind of intriguing. Certainly, Monty, he has been through his share of tragedies in life. When he was the head coach at Oklahoma City, his first wife was killed in a car accident, and then right about the time at some point this year, his second wife had been diagnosed with breast cancer. He'd been fired. The Pistons called, and he said family's his priority. So he was, focusing on that. And then they got a good news back from the doctors that it was early detection. And that's when Troy Weaver circled back. And, hey, man, at that point he was kind of ready to go. And so he took this job, and he admitted, the money was a big part of it, the dedication that they had. Here's my question.
It's a great admission, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Finally somebody does it.
Tom Goris, the approval rating. We haven't done an approval rating in a while. He hasn't had a winner here. But I'm happy that he decided to step up and do this, right?
If you did an approval rating 2 weeks ago for Tom Goris, it would be abysmal. It would probably be less than 20%, I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you took the time to watch the press conference, or if you read the papers today and hear and read the story about how he courted Monty Williams, I don't think you can help but come away impressed with him. As this is like the first real step that we can, I think, acknowledge. It's a great step as an owner of what he's done. Troy Weaver, hiring Troy Weaver might be another good one, but it's still, we'll wait and see how that turns out with some of the players he's drafted here. But I like it so far. But to identify the coach that you wanted, and then to go after him, but to do it in a humane way. He's not just throwing money at it. That was part of it. But to come up with a plan that suited his needs as a person, Monty Williams' needs as a person, as a father, and as a husband, to deal with his situation and his wife's situation, I thought was awesome. And when I read that this morning, I was kind of blown away by it. And I think that approval rating goes up significantly today and will only continue to grow based on what the Pistons do as a team under Monty Williams. But for right now, I'm pretty proud that Tom Gores is the owner of the Pistons, which I don't think I would have said 2 weeks ago.
Right. Hey, at least this effort is there, and we got an owner here with the Tigers that people are critical of. People are critical of Tom Gores too, but I mean, because ultimately they just want to see their teams win, right? That's the bottom line. How they get there, or the business aspect of it, or hey, let's stay patient. Patience wears thin, and you just circle back and say, well, he's the guy. And he is the reason, and that is why we're not winning. And so, let's wait and see how it plays out. Good start though, Monty Williams. Being part of this rebuild, and it's just so much. Honestly, it's not discouraging. Let's just say that. I don't want to say I'm wildly encouraged because they still got a lot of work to do. But if it were Charles Lee. I don't think the excitement would be
No,
there.
it's hard to sell that, yeah. And I think Gores knows that.
Yep. All right, we're outside Comerica Park, 248-539-9797. We'll hear some of what Monty Williams had to say, a little bit, the highlights from AJ Hinch. I mentioned something came back and was a resounding success. Something came back and I'm not so sure. We'll talk about what makes things a success and a failure and what should be next. We'll get to that at 10:20 here on 97.1 The Ticket.
Well, here in Michigan, we know very well about how the changing seasons give us all types of difficulty, right? I mean, it was scorching hot because summer is here, and yet now it's not necessarily. Well, maybe you're noticing some things around the house, like maybe your air conditioning isn't working, or maybe your heater doesn't come on. Maybe you got problems with your water heater. Whatever the problem is, you're going to have to call the great folks over at Birmingham Heating and Cooling. Call them today because they dropped a special offer just in time to beat the heat. Birmingham Plumbing is now including a free ultraviolet light air purifier or a high-efficiency air filter when you have both of your furnace and your air conditioning systems replaced. In addition, they include up to a full 5-year parts and labor warranty that comes with annual maintenance. And don't be worried about the cost up front because Birmingham has got you covered there too. They offer financing options for your new furnace or AC system for as low as $70 a month. So whether it's your air conditioning or your furnace, maybe you got a pool heater issue, a boiler or water filtration problem. It could be a flood in your basement. Maybe it's a clogged drain. Whatever the problem is, call the awesome folks over at Birmingham Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today at 248-282-3971, or you can schedule an appointment online at birminghamplumbingco.com. Birmingham Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, your Metro Detroit boiler experts.
Says my camera's not connected.
It's what?
Doug Carr, Scott Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket, open lines, 248-539-9797. Okay, so a couple things here, Gator. Maybe the...
Here we go.
Here comes a leaf blower. They really don't care we're here.
I mean,
They
there's
just don't care.
there's nothing. There's nothing to blow.
Well, we're going to have a leaf.
Did I just say that?
Leaf blowers here.
There's no grass or leaves to be removed by way of a leaf blower.
But a leaf blower is here.
Yeah.
All right, so according to Nielsen ratings information, viewership for the Chevrolet IndyCar Grand Prix on Sunday posted a total audience delivery of 1.098 million viewers across television, digital, and out-of-home viewing. With the race televised on NBC and streamed live on Peacock, that represents an increase at 179% from the 2022 Grand Prix.
Wow.
179% more people watched it.
You know me, I'm terrible at math.
Yep.
Sounds like that's more.
Yes. Good job.
Thank you.
In the meantime, the grandstand sold out on Sunday. I'm looking for Kang. Did we find? I apologize because I was en route down here to Comerica Park. Kang, did we find the year-to-year numbers in terms of attendance from 22 to 23?
No, I was still efforting that. I'll let you know.
Okay, gotcha. But the TV viewing is up. We do know that the grandstand sold out. That came back to downtown Detroit, and I don't know what else to say other than, I mean, that sounds like it's a huge success.
It's a home run.
Yep.
It's a home run. I know that the people that put on the event, they were extraordinarily proud of the effort that everybody put in for it. And that, of course, there's things they can improve on. They're already talking about it. I'm sure the drivers always would like to see, smoother track, and I'm sure they'll work on that as well for next year. Yeah, but it's a road course. Of course it is. I mean, it's their normal streets. So all that's going to be worked on and make it even better, but just a resounding success.
At the same time, are the Michigan Panthers a resounding success? Their return?
No.
It doesn't seem like a resounding success. But then again, I haven't seen data. I looked at the Ford Field facility is convenient. It's right there. It doesn't cost as much as a new facility. But it feels to me like playing it in an NFL stadium, it just makes it a sterile atmosphere. Now, I know they're trying very hard. Everything we heard from people who went to games, and honest to God, Kang was mocking me for this because I was planning on going. But when they went on that losing streak, I lost interest. I know it's a weird deal. If they were winning, I'd be in. And I thought, why does that matter to me? It's illegal.
No, it does matter.
But here's why it matters.
It does matter.
It mattered down here at Comerica Park on Monday night when the Tigers had a walk-off win in the 10th inning, and the people that were here went nuts. And it had created a little buzz on Tuesday, even though they'd lost 9 in a row. So the Grand Prix comes back to downtown. Early returns of success. The Michigan Panthers, not as much. But it got me to thinking, and I'd like to ask you, and I'd like to ask the audience, what else would you like to see come back? What else would you like to see come back? A few years ago, if we asked this question, sorry, I don't know why I'm gesturing to you that way. I hope I wasn't threatening you. A few years ago, though, if we asked that question, people would say they'd like to see PGA golf come back to Metro Detroit. Now, was it Metro Detroit when it was up at Grand Blanc at the Buick Open-ish? No. I mean, that's about as close. It's as close as we had.
Well, outside of having a major event at Oakland Hills, yes.
It came back to Michigan. Well, an annual event, and now we've got it. That came back, and is it gaining traction? I mean, how would you describe it?
In terms of like Rocket Mortgage Classic, is that gaining traction?
Yeah.
I think absolutely it is. I think it's something that the city is proud of to put on. And I think each year it's gotten better. They keep adding to it when it comes to what they can do for the fans that show up. I know they're expecting big crowds next week, and hopefully there are big crowds, and hopefully there's going to be some more big names that'll be announced perhaps on Monday after the U.S. Open is done, with some people that want to fill out the field. But, I think it's a great event, and I think it's one that Detroit has kind of owned, and it's gaining steam. I'm with you on the Panthers. It's all about the winning, because it is a local team. It does have Michigan in front of it, right?
Yep.
And because it's got the nostalgia for people of our generation that, we grew up watching that, and this is nothing like that. And we were hoping that, well, maybe if they start winning, we can embrace it like we did Bobby Hebert and Anthony Carter and all that. But it's not. And losing sucks. Nobody likes losing. And the league doesn't – I don't think it's going to survive because there aren't superstars in the league. And that's what's going to drive anybody to watch something is, that superstar atmosphere, unless you scale it down significantly. Like the reason that the DCFC survives, I think, in large part is because it is scaled down. Because it's built for the diehards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only the diehard soccer fans are going to care right now about one of the lower level, soccer clubs. And they do a great job of marketing it. They do a great job of catering to those fans. And those fans are diehard and they're loyal.
Yep.
And, borderline obnoxious. But they love that sport and they love that team.
Do.
If somehow the USFL were scaled down where you would only expect, and you're only catering to 10,000 people or 15,000 people, okay, but it's so niche, you're playing at such a massive stadium.
It'd be better at Keyworth than it is
it'd be better at Keyworth, but they also think about like TV deals and stuff like that. I mean, there's no grassroots movement for this. They was just automatically slapped on, the major networks, and people don't care. Well, you got to build that investment, and it's hard to build that investment when you're going to have the turnover and changeover of rosters. Almost on a weekly basis. They're constantly adding new guys, but certainly on a yearly basis, the team changes.
So I got something I'd like to see come back to Detroit: the Great Lakes Invitational. That was a big part of our holidays growing up, was coming to the GLI down at the Joe Louis Arena, and it's moved to Grand Rapids. I believe the University of Michigan is now officially pulled out, which is a shame. But part of it was they were losing so many players to the World Juniors every year, but that was always the case. But I would like to see the GLI return to Detroit. After the Joe, it feels like it bounced around. It went to Comerica, then it got canceled the 1 year. Maybe it got canceled 2 years. But, college hockey at the Joe was something that I attended frequently. And now the GLI was in Grand Rapids last year, I believe. But that is something that I really liked.
Yeah, I loved it too. I mean, how else would I know a name like Milan Gaish if it had been for the GLI?
Milan Gaish.
So I do miss that, being a college hockey fan as well. Not as big a college hockey fan as you are, but I do enjoy watching college hockey. And, you get our local teams here. It was always a lot of fun. Another event I liked it. They don't do it anymore, I don't think, with the regularity anyway, but maybe it's been brought back. But it was the Detroit Taste Fest.
Oh.
And what they had it up in the News Center area. And what they would do is close off a couple streets, and you would have, it was basically kind of like Arts, Beats, and Eats, but it was in Detroit. Although not with necessarily these big, giant musical acts that could come, or big musical acts, maybe giant's a little strong, but all these various restaurants from around the city would set up shop, and you could go buy tickets, and you get food tickets, and you have a taste, have a sample of what each restaurant had to offer. And there were adult beverages, and occasionally you'd see a band playing in an alley somewhere, and it was just a lot of fun. It was really cool, and I think they stopped doing that so many years ago. And it's a lot of the cities are in Metro Detroit will put on something like that. And even the city of Detroit I know there's like a taco fest or something coming downtown, and they'll do some little things like that. but nothing as grand as where they were closing off major streets, and you would get tens of thousands of people that would show up.
All right, 248-539-9797. Phone calls, texts. Hey, the Grand Prix came back to downtown. Pretty successful. What do you want to see come back? And you don't even have to predict success. Like, it's just something that you want to see come back. I think we would have argued in the last decade, PGA golf to Michigan, and we got it. The Michigan Panthers, we would have said that too, and we got it. One more successful than the other. Now, part of it has to do with, I think if the Panthers are winning, it would have a better chance and maybe a better venue. But
well, they definitely chose wisely putting the Grand Prix back on the road track as road course as opposed to Belle Isle.
It's Carson Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Carson Anderson, 97, won a ticket outside Comerica Park. And thanks to Kang, Evan, and Ben, the Twitch feed is up. So if you want to watch the show from down here, you can go to twitch.tv, search up 971 The Ticket. I don't even want to read the comments.
No?
No, I do not want to read the comments. Gator, in places around Metro Detroit, is where we do the show from, colder than everywhere else.
Yes.
Okay? I'm sure people are going to laugh and make fun of us, but you can go see what we're wearing and how we look. And Powers refuses to do anything about it, so whatever. All right, so here we sit outside Comerica Park. It's going to be warmer later today, which is good. But we're asking, with the return of the Detroit Grand Prix, and the TV numbers are up, and they sold out the grandstands on Sunday, and we're still efforting to make sure that we're reading this right, but it looks like the attendance year to year was up. It returned to downtown Detroit to success. Michigan Panthers have returned to Detroit. Maybe not, but that's wrapped up in winning and losing. So that could be successful. I worry that the venue being big and cavernous and you're never going to sell it out, although amazingly the Panthers came close in their first incarnation. We got PGA golf back in Michigan, and I'd say that is making inroads and could be a success, and maybe already is. 248-539-9797. Their charitable efforts have been great in terms of bringing internet access to people of Detroit.
Yeah.
But what else would you like to see come back? 248-539-9797.
I was wondering, just thinking about, like, God, was it be 30 years now when the Vipers first started?
Yeah.
Having another hockey team here that would be like, if the Grand Rapids Griffins were to move somewhere, I mean, the Palace isn't here anymore, obviously, but, something like that, if there was an arena close by that they could play in, whether it's, I don't know, Plymouth to play there, would that be kind of cool to see the affiliate
that close?
That close.
Yes.
Like Toledo's actually pretty close. I always forget about how close it is. If I wanted to go watch the Mud Hens play, hey, it's an hour drive.
Which I've done before, and
yeah,
it's great.
And I've done it too, but I haven't done it in a while, and I think it might be something that to look into again to do. But it'd be kind of nice to have one of the affiliates be even closer than they are.
248-539-9797. Let's go to Mike. You're on 97 on the ticket. Hi, Mike.
Hey, good morning, Doug and Gator.
What's up?
How are you?
Not much. I'm just walking around. But you guys were talking about what I'd like to see come back, and I just purchased a new boat, so I'm thinking I want to see the races down there again.
Okay.
Remember the old boats that used to race up the Detroit River, Thunder on the River?
Yeah, the hydroplane races, yeah.
I think one of the drivers for Smokin' Joe was a local, which made it even better. Mark Tate, do you remember him? He was a salesman for Hosco.
I just remember that it was Miss Budweiser, I think, was the boat that always won or always competed there, and it was always contingent on the weather, of course. You get bumpy seas, and they're not going to do it, but so you can never really count on it. But, yeah, I know that a lot of people enjoyed it.
Yeah, what was the Rooster Tail used to be the most happening place on the river during that race.
When did that go away?
I don't remember.
20 years?
I just don't remember.
Yeah. All right.
I know when I was working, I went to a few Super Bowl parties, and Mark Tate was there, so I assume he was a local. But he was, you don't remember Smokin' Joe, Joe Camel race boat?
Vaguely. The only one I can remember is Miss Budweiser. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the one that won all, and I can't remember that driver's name either. But he was he never lost anywhere.
Mike, thanks for the phone call. 248-539-9797. Vince is next here on 97 on the ticket. Hi, Vince.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're
all
good,
right,
thank you.
Good. Hey, so my take was the lukewarm reception to the Panthers in particular, but the USFL overall. I don't think there's room for more pro football. If you look back when the Panthers and the USFL were popular in the first iteration, the NFL used to go away. I think the Super Bowl was the end of January. The NFL used to go away through the whole summer. Now, with what they do with the draft, what they do with preseason workouts, what they do with Hard Knocks, you've got NFL 365 days of the year. I don't think there's room for another football league.
I think that's part of it, but I think you go back to the first iteration. The reason that it was even partially successful to start was because they competed with the NFL for players.
Yeah.
This isn't a league that's trying to compete with players. This is a league that's going to give, those marginal players an opportunity to showcase their wares so that they can actually get picked up by an NFL team. I mean, Back then, it's oh crap, we just lost out on the opportunity to draft Jim Kelly or Herschel Walker because they went to the they went to the USFL. But that's clearly not going to be the case with the USFL anymore.
No, that's true, and I just don't know that then if there's a league for marginal players. I don't think the G League or minor league. I mean, minor league baseball has a nice niche, but I just don't think it's going to find a national audience, especially on television.
Well, if it's going to be maybe that's the way it's successful as we talk this out is if it were to be a minor league feeder system for football for the NFL, that you don't play it in the off season, that it's actually played during the season, so that you got guys that are in shape and ready to go that you can, pull off of somebody's USFL roster.
My thought was if they did get in, and start working together, you put your practice squad guys down in the USFL, and you get to see, Jameer Jefferson carry the football or whatever. Like you get to see Hendon Hooker next spring quarterback the Michigan Panthers. That would have some local interest, wouldn't it?
It would definitely have some local interest, but NFL teams won't want to do that and put those players at risk before they put on an NFL uniform.
They don't, but the practice squad guys who need the reps, you're right, but I'm just wondering will it be worth the reward? And the answer is probably no. But what do they always say? You need reps, you need game reps, on a limited basis. Would it make sense? It's not like the USFL is playing a 20-game schedule.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it. I was excited thinking it was going to work.
Look, I'm trying to sell the idea. Work with me.
Workshop with it. That sounds great, Doug. Sounds great. Let's get it.
You're
make
probably
it happen.
right. You're probably right. 248-539-9797. So the Grand Prix came back with success. Michigan Panthers, and we're asking you what you'd like to see come back. I'd love to see the Detroit Vipers and the IHL come back. That's from Steve in Swartz Creek, as you mentioned. Comerica Taste Fest and Arts Beats and Eats event down in the New Center area of Detroit. Awesome event, usually first week of July. It's Brian in Gibraltar. I wonder if we get this one, and we did. Steve in Detroit says, bring back the Detroit Shock, WNBA former champs. I would really like to see the state fair, the real state fair come back. That's from an unnamed texter.
Well, they don't have the fairgrounds anymore.
Doug, I'd like to see World Team Tennis come back to Detroit. I have vague memories of seeing standings in the paper for some tennis league, and I think Detroit had a team, and I think LA had a team, and here we go. I took 25 clients to a Panthers game, and the brand and play of football was so bad no one even watched. So essentially, I had to wait in line for an hour to get in, pay for $14 beers and $20 parking just to stand around. It's still too expensive to be that bad. Major league prices for minor league environment. It's from an unnamed texter.
Yeah, the cost to get in is minimal.
Yeah.
But if the concessions are still high, then that's a problem.
Yep. 248-539-9797. Tony is next here on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, Tony.
Hi, guys. Over 30 years ago, we had a box lacrosse team. The Turbos. The Turbos.
Yep.
I want to see them come back. And it probably doesn't qualify because we never had a field team. But I really like to see a field lacrosse team in Detroit.
Well, it'd be interesting because the sport has gained so much popularity over the last 5 years. It really is kind of exploding. It's on the high school scene all over the place now, where 20 years ago you had, a dozen high school programs that had lacrosse. Now it's everywhere, and I could see that growing.
So what is the Premier League lacrosse? Is that where the Redwoods are with the disinterested bear? The greatest logo, my favorite logo in sports?
Last Sunday.
Yeah,
I did not.
Did I read that? Because that league just travels around with teams. All they have is nicknames. They don't have cities. Yeah. Did I read that they're going to have home cities next year?
Yes.
Okay. So would Detroit get involved? It feels to me.
So.
You know something. It sounds, Tony, like you know something about lacrosse. Is lacrosse gaining in popularity in Detroit? Is this a hotbed? I don't know. I'm asking. Is it a hotbed?
Detroit's always had a strong following. It's never peaked. Like, if they're looking for fast growth, some of the other cities had fast growth. Detroit has had steady growth, and it's been around. Like I said, we had the Turbos were here 30 years ago. That's when my son actually went to a game. We went to a Red Wing game, and they said, "Come on back, and your Red Wing ticket will let you come into the stands for the lacrosse game." We knew nothing about lacrosse 30 years ago, and then now he was on a team, and it grew and it grew. I mean, lacrosse is. I mean, remember Jim Brown and Wayne Gretzky were both better in lacrosse than they were in football and hockey.
They're both very good, for sure, absolutely. And when the Turbos are playing, that's when the Gate brothers had come out from Syracuse, and they revolutionized the sport, and they hit on it at the right time, but it fizzled out. But now the sport is kind of seen a major resurgence because it is accessible now.
248-539-9797. All right, phone calls, feedback. We're outside Comerica Park. Twitch feed is up and running. If you want to go see it, make fun of us, which I made the mistake. I did look at the Twitch feed. They're making fun of us because we look ridiculous.
But bundling?
It is what it is. We've learned. We've been down here enough to know. But Grand Prix comes back, doing well. Michigan Panthers have come back. Maybe not so much. PGA Tour is back in the state of Michigan, doing well. What would you like to see come back? It's Carson Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Carson Anderson outside Comerica Park, 248-539-9797. During the commercial break, Gator, what did you smell?
Weed.
Yes, you did. 248-539-9797. Let's get back to your phone calls. We go to Mike. You're next here on 97.1. Hi, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
Talking about the topic you had about what you wanted to see come back to Detroit, I got two of them for you. One
Okay.
sports related, one not. I like to see Detroit Shock come back. I used to go to all the games they had. I loved it. Go with my daughter. And also the Michigan State Fair. It was better when it was in Detroit.
Okay, gotcha. Now, the Shock, I mean, they won a championship, right?
Couple
I mean, so it's interesting
Right.
that it didn't work here.
Right.
Well, it did, but I mean, they won. I think I don't know how well attended it was, but was attendance the
It was
reason
not
that
very attended.
they left, or was there another reason they left?
I don't know.
They said they were losing money, from what I remember. But
Well, see, and that's the thing about this
the
as a
venue was too
topic. I
big.
want to keep this in mind. These are not things that we're predicting would work. we're just looking for things that people would like to see come back. You know. So yeah, the Shock. I mean, I seem to remember. I have visions in my head of them closing out a championship game and the Palace going nuts.
Yeah,
So,
I remember them bringing people in studio from the team.
yep. Thank you for the phone call. Let's go to Bo next here on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, Bo.
Hey there, guys. I just wanted to touch on the lacrosse part. That was a couple callers ago. I played college lacrosse. I coach it now, and I follow the PLL and the NLL, so the field and the indoor game. I don't see Michigan getting professional lacrosse team.
We're losing you. Hello.
The city base. Hello.
Hey, Bo, we lost you. You said you don't see Michigan getting a lacrosse team, and then we lost you. Why?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yep.
go-
Oh, yeah, I don't see it. Yes, it's growing in Michigan, but I think they're going to go to more hotbed places like the D.C. area, California, Florida, and Texas. I don't think Michigan's a hotbed place yet.
How many teams are there in the PLL?
I believe there's 8.
8. Okay.
8 or 9.
So you named 4 areas, right? I mean, maybe they'll put multiple teams in some of those states. But you're saying
Yeah, because you
DC.
can guarantee. Yeah, you can guarantee like Boston, New York, D.C.,
Okay.
Charlotte probably, and then Florida, Texas, and then probably California, where the Redwoods likely will end up.
Yeah, with the disinterested bear. Do you
the bear is great.
the bear is awesome. If you haven't seen their logo,
Yeah.
I just love it. The
It
bear
is.
has that look on his face like, you know, do I need to get eggs? Like
Right,
he's,
right.
he's,
Okay, yeah.
he's thinking about something, anything but lacrosse. Do you now? We asked, you know, we're not asking would it work. Would you like to see it? Would you go?
Oh yeah, I would love it. I
Okay.
would love it. I think it would help grow the sport in Michigan, but like I don't think they don't want to take a risk right now because of obviously I think the tour base is helping them. And when they go to cities, all the teams will be playing in the host city for the weekend,
Yeah.
so they won't be going like there won't be a game in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then a game in New York in the same weekend. All the teams will
They'll
be playing
all be
in Charlotte.
okay.
So, yep.
Gotcha. All right, Bo, thank you very much. Appreciate the intel. 248-539-9797. I believe Ed is next here on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, Ed.
Hey, Doug. How you doing, buddy?
I'm okay.
Hello? Hey.
Yes,
go ahead.
Band Day, man. Don't you remember that? University of Michigan
yeah.
should give up the first game so that all those high school kids can come and perform at halftime. Some of those kids will never get into Michigan Stadium, and that's the only way they will.
I forgot about Band Day. So Band Day, they used to have high school bands at halftime and I think post-game would come in and cover the entire field. It'd just be flooded with kids. And I don't remember, they play a couple songs and then leave. And my guess is originally that was a gimmick to get people in the stadium. But, you know, they pretty much sell out
You
now.
would be
But
shocked, man. You would be shocked how that experience is the only experience in Michigan Stadium for kids around the state.
I'm intrigued here. Were you a high school kid that got to go on Band Day?
Man, I went to Pioneer High School right across the street. I mean, I went to all the games and stuff, but band day, man, that was high school kids cut up day. That was great.
Yeah, band day. I remember band day and covered the entire field. Michigan State ever do anything like that?
I don't recall. I don't think I would have any interest. So it's nothing that I would remember fondly
it was a
or
cool
otherwise.
Sight, but
okay, I'll take your word for it.
Can help with attendance. I'll tell you that because if they get to go to the game. But band day, I forgot about band day. 248-539-9797 plus your ticket text to the same number. So somebody says Gold Cup hydroplane races on Detroit River. Another one here, USFL and XFL are not even as good as top D1 football. There is no interest in these meaningless teams playing lousy football. The unlimited hydroplanes are back for 2024, the weekend after 4th of July. Okay.
That's good.
Yep.
Well, there's a lot that happens, you've got the Rock and Mortgage Classic. You've got the fireworks for 4th of July. You'll have the this event, the Grand Prix. It's a lot that would happen in a short span. Remember they were originally going to have the auto show in July as well, around that same time, and I guess now it's been shifted to I think September. But there can be a lot happening here. It's great.
Yep. Well, you never know. And apparently the Grand Prix downtown, that looks like it's here to stay and nothing but, I would imagine, improvements moving forward.
Well,
but TV ratings, I'm a little surprised that TV ratings were so good given the fact that, I mean, I guess people find racing through the streets of Detroit more interesting than Belle Isle.
Yes. Well, yeah. When you find out it's a road course, you're going to be interested. And when they have it in Vegas, I think that's another one that people are going to want to see. You see the cars racing on the Strip? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it brings about familiarity. If you've been to a place, you kind of want to see it.
Yep.
Like, I would have no real interest of watching the Champions Tour golf on a regular basis. I just tune in every once in a while, but I don't. But when they play at Harbor Shores, I played that course. Now I want to see it, right?
Yep.
It's the same thing anywhere around here. Like now that it's a Detroit Golf Club, the Rock and Mortgage Classic, it's a private club, but lots of people have played it, and it means something. That's a club I've played. That's kind of a course that I've played. I'd like to see that.
Kang is back in our studios. Kang, I'd be remiss, and of course we haven't had a chance to communicate. Is there anything that hasn't been mentioned you'd like to add, or no?
Personally, for me, a UFC fight card again. The last one here was 2017. I attended it. It was at LCA. It was really good. They had one in 2010 at the Palace Auburn Hills. I went to that as well.
I was at that one, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been, 6 years now. I'd love to see another UFC event here downtown. That'd be cool.
That is something that hadn't been mentioned. Well played. All right, straight ahead. The fans fight back. Can this be effective? We'll get to that today at 11:05. It's Carson Anderson downtown outside Comerica Park. 97.1 The Ticket.
Brought to you by CGC Water Treatment. A double dose of Tigers today at Comerica Park in about 2 hours as they make up last night's rainout with a straight doubleheader. Fans that had tickets, you can exchange them for today's games or for any game in the next 12 months that is not the home opener in 2024. Also, manager AJ Hinch joined 97.1 The Ticket and spoke about their offensive issues lately and says that if you're waiting for big call-ups from the Miners, don't hold your breath. Now, Reese Olson and Michael Lorenzen will face the Braves today. They need to take one of those games to win the series against first-place Atlanta. Game 1 at 1:10 p.m. Game 2 will follow shortly after, all right here on 97.1. Alcohol at Michigan college events could be coming soon. The new bill still needs Senate and governor approval before it can be active by the fall, and the first part of that could be coming as soon as today. There were no speakers opposed to it when it was unanimously passed at the committee level in East Lansing. And prior to the Rocket Mortgage Classic later this month, the LPGA's Meyer Classic is set to begin tomorrow in Belmont, just north of Grand Rapids. 5 of the top 10 women's golfers in the world will be there, plus 2 former Spartans, Valerie Plata and Brooke Bierman. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Chris Villar. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
Do you ever know anybody named Bierman?
No.
No. I knew one Bierman back in the day. Michigan had a second baseman named, I think it was Kirk Bierman. But yes, Bierman. I always liked the name Bierman. But
Well, it's hard not to.
Brooke Bierman, Kirk Bierman. What if they're related? No relation? I don't know. 248-539-9797. All right, we are outside Comerica Park. Tigers this afternoon, taking on Braves, doubleheader. Hey, look, they've created a bit of a mess, the Tigers. They've dug a hole is what they've done. If they want to dig out, sweep the Braves today and take a winning streak into that 4-game set with Minnesota. It's not likely to happen, and even so, without Riley Green and Eduardo Rodriguez, it just doesn't feel like the Tigers are parading out a lineup every day that can compete. But division's terrible. It's just a battle of who wants it less.
I'd feel so much better about what could happen if it were a pitching issue and not a hitting issue.
Yep.
Because they're going to get Skubal back maybe within a few days.
Yep.
A week. They're going to get Matt Manning back. Looks like he's going to make at least one more rehab start. Bo Brisky is on the way back, too. He pitched an inning in rehab, and I think it was a perfect inning for him. Mm-hmm. They're getting pitching back, which is nice. And that's all before Rodriguez comes back. And AJ Hinch made it seemed like Rodriguez is ahead of schedule and could come back soon, which would be great. But it's the hitting that's plagued this team. So great to see them bust out 15 hits the other night and whatever it was, 6 or 7 runs in a game. But it's been such a long time coming. This is an impotent team when it comes to their offense. There's no power. And they're not hitting for average. Now, they're walking at a better rate. That's true. And I know Scott Harris spoke with the Economic Club, and AJ Hinch was there, and some Tiger players were there, and trying to accentuate some of the positives. And there's, admittedly, by Scott Harris, incremental growth, incremental progress, but it comes in the way of the walk rate from the hitters, that they're walking at a much greater rate. I think they're 8th in the league with their walk rate, that the pitching staff has done a better job to reduce the number of walks. But that's all you can hang your hat on right now, and that's why it's incremental growth. As far as the power numbers are concerned, nothing's going on here. Keep waiting for this team to click and get into some nice power surge. If Javi Baez is going to, step back in and hit a couple home runs in a week, and Torkelson will do it, and maybe Monday's a springboard for a couple of these guys. Maybe not. Maybe it's a flash in the pan. But, I certainly haven't given up on Torque. I think Torque has a very bright future. But the other guys, I don't know. There's so many players you just don't know about.
I'm going to use a couple analogies here because, Scott Harris yesterday said that the work that we have done so far is kind of under the hood.
Yes.
You don't really see it, but it's stuff we're tinkering under the hood.
It's like when you're doing, if you're doing something to your house. a renovation, and you spend all this money on electrical and plumbing and you don't see it.
Right, which is the next analogy that I'd like to see Scott Harris's next. Like the part that everybody sees when you go to the Tigers' house is the major league product. That's like your first floor where you entertain. But as we all know, what good is a house without a great foundation?
Exactly.
Right? So what it'd be great to see him stock the minor leagues in the next couple of years and create a legitimate foundation. The part that people won't see, but without it, the rest of the house is in trouble. So right now, it doesn't feel like the entertainment level, the first floor, is in great shape. Quite frankly, neither is the foundation.
Well,
and that's in part, they stocked, and then they brought all those guys up, and every single one of them has gotten hurt.
That's the problem.
With one exception, Torque.
Yeah, and he's been slow to get up to speed with where you would expect him to be.
But my Scooble, Manning, Green, I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, some of it, in my opinion, falls back on Avila for not seeing warning signs with the pitchers that others saw.
Well, and some of it is just that. Pitchers.
Yeah.
Pitchers get hurt.
Yep.
And that's going to – but when Riley Green has, suffered injuries in the first 2 years of his career, you're like, please don't let this be a DeAndre Swift situation.
Sure.
Get healthy and let's see you playing 150 games a year, 145 games a year. It'd be great. But they do have some guys in the minor leagues. It's just that you'd like to populate it with more than a handful of guys that you feel like might have a chance, or maybe have better than a might, but have a decent chance of making it, because they're at all levels of the minor leagues right now. And of course, everybody's focusing on Colt Keith, and rightfully so, though he didn't play last night.
248-539-9797. We'll hear more from AJ Hinch a little bit later in the show. All right, I mentioned before the break the fans fighting back in Oakland. So much has been made about how pathetic the A's are this year. They spent $56 million on salary. The Mets, I think, are at $344, which leads the majors. The A's, they've had battles about the stadium. It is an old-school, cookie-cutter, multi-purpose stadium, which is the last thing that anybody wants.
It was an old football
in modern baseball. And they have a deal struck in Nevada as the Nevada Senate passed a public funding bill for an A's new stadium in Las Vegas. So the fans did a reverse boycott, which is a really interesting concept. They got 28,000 for the game last night, triple their normal fans. Many of them wearing shirts that said "sell." They had a organized moment of silence where everyone in the stadium was silent. Then they came back with a "sell the team" chant, "sell the team" over and over again. And in an effort to shame the team owner, John Fisher. And the A's went out, and I think they've won 7 straight now.
Yeah, they put together a little win streak where I'm not sure if they're still the worst team in the league, or now they're with Kansas City as being the worst team in the league. But yeah, they've gone on a little run here.
So, but the idea, the fans wanted to send a message: we're not the problem. Look, we'll show up. Okay, they're not giving us anything to show up for, which is amazing, because the A's have pulled off something that I think Lions fans talked about for years, right?
Yeah, well, they did.
Do you want to see a team in Vegas, or do you want to see the A's save their team? The A's fans save their team? Or do you care? Maybe you don't care.
Me?
Yeah.
I want to see a team in Vegas.
Do you?
Yeah, I saw the renderings. I love it. I know, part-time resident Kang isn't a big fan of seeing a team in downtown Vegas, or not downtown, but right in the Strip there. I love it. I think it looks fantastic. They've already got the hockey arena is right there as well. They've got a football team now. They just won the Stanley Cup. Vegas is ready to take on major sports. I think they have been for a while, but they had to wait before everybody got in bed with the gambling thing, and now everybody is. So, all right, Katie bar the door. Now here comes Vegas money at you, and they should get a baseball team. That team doesn't deserve to be in Oakland, because of ownership, of what ownership has done, because they've refused to, go into it and build the new stadium with all the bells and whistles like every new stadium has. Instead, they've stayed in the Coliseum, and it's terrible. They never spend money. Never spend money. I mean, the movie Moneyball, when it came out, you saw, and I mean, it's a dramatization to a point, but it's based off of true events there. They weren't spending money anywhere. Now, Oakland has always done a tremendous job of scouting and developing players, always. And they continue to do so. It's a lot like what, Tampa Bay, maybe they follow the Oakland A's example. But both of those teams are so similar, and it's got to be frustrating as hell because nobody goes to the games for either team.
So I want to see the A's save their team. I want to see the fans save their team because I'm afraid this is a passive-aggressive attempt to sabotage your own team to get massive, just to line your pockets from a new market that will do whatever you want to get Major League Baseball. And so it's completely unfair to the fans. It can happen anywhere at any time. You'd like to think that it couldn't happen in a traditional market like Detroit, where we have all of our teams steeped in tradition. But, and am I losing sleep at night over the fate of the Oakland A's? No. But I hope that what the fans did forces the owner to look at legitimate sales, to be able to sell, to try and keep, if there's nobody there to buy it, you can chance sell all you want. But if there's no local group to buy it, what are you going to do?
Well, but they are going to move. And Frank, you have to think about it on the other side, too, though. You're competing with San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's not like these two towns are 3 hours apart. They're across the bridge from each other. So how fair is that? People looked at one time, maybe not right now because of what's going on in San Francisco, but here's this jewel of the country in San Francisco, and then there's Oakland. They were always, they weren't treated well because of who they're compared to. The Raiders left, they went to Los Angeles, then they came back, and now they're going to Vegas. They're in Vegas. It's like the football team left, the baseball team's leaving, and part of me feels bad for the diehard fans of those teams. And yet, you've got a team that's right across the Bay Area does include Oakland.
You do, but that's like asking Mets fans to be Yankees fans or White Sox fans to be Cubs fans. And, I don't know.
Well, those cities have bigger populations. They can sustain that. I don't think the Bay Area has anywhere near the population that New York or Chicago or Los Angeles has.
I'd have to look at the numbers, but I would also say they probably both the football team and the baseball team played in the worst stadiums in their respective leagues. And everybody else has a much better game day experience than those teams and those fan bases.
But owners are always going to do what's best for ownership.
248-539-9797. It's Carson Anderson. Open lines. We'll get to your phone calls and feedback coming up a little bit later on. Monty Williams commenting on Cade and Jaden Ivey. Something he said about Ivey was really interesting. That at 11:50. It's Carson Anderson, 97.1.
Tired of maintaining your tired old deck? Well, rise above maintenance with Trex composite decking from Builder's First Source. Trex decking is fade, stain, scratch, and mold resistant. If you spill some red wine or you're worried about that scorching sun, don't be worried about it. Trex decking maintains its premium ageless look no matter what you throw at it, with decking to fit any budget. Find Trex composite decking at Builder's First Source in Clinton and Shelby Townships, and also online at bldrmichigan.com. Builder's First Source, Macomb County's largest and first source for decking.
Cool story coming out of Major League Baseball, and I'm wondering if something like that can happen here. We'll get to that in a few minutes. A little bit later on, the most interesting thing Monty Williams told our morning show, the new Piston head coach, talking about the A's fan protest. They had a reverse boycott. They decided to pack the stadium to send the message that the fans aren't the problem. They will support a team, but it's been a bad team. They got no payroll, and the owner wants out, and they want to save their team, and I get it. But where they want to move is Vegas. Gator is kind of excited to see a team in Vegas, and you don't feel like it's a major loss for Oakland to lose their team, and I get it.
Well, I mean, obviously, if I was an Oakland A's fan, I'd be devastated that my team was leaving, as those fans will be, because they support the team to a point. They support that team.
Did they support the Golden State Warriors, and they left? And they supported the Raiders, and they left. I mean, these are these are ownership groups that held a city that refused to pay for a new stadium hostage.
Yeah, and they got better deals elsewhere.
Yep.
And that's how it works. You don't have to like it, and you don't like it, but they're going to show up. And if the point for them showing up was to say it's not our fault that the team sucks,
yep,
that the fans support them, if that was your point, I think it's a stupid point, because not one person would point the finger at the fans of the Oakland Athletics and say that you guys are the problem because you don't show up or support the team. Nobody says that.
I think ownership says it.
I
think ownership says
that.
they wouldn't have voted down our new stadium.
Well, that's not done by the population of the city. That's done by a committee of people that are sitting on a board, and I get that, but that has nothing to do with the fans.
To be fair, I don't know how they turned it down, but Kang, you have deep Vegas roots. You want to see the A's save their team, or you want to see them move to Vegas?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not against Vegas having a team if they were to start an expansion team, but you do not take away from the Oakland Athletics. I mean, first of all, I'm pretty consistent with this. Generally, I'm always going to side with the fans over the owners. The owners want free stadiums. They want free stuff, essentially. They want people and the public and tax money to pay for their toys. Hey, dude, you're the billionaires. You're the one who bought the team. And this goes for all sports, not just baseball. Fund your own stadium, number one. Number two, the stadium sucks, all right? The team sucks, so people aren't going to show up. They were able to get fans when they were good. Everyone knows this. I mean, when they were early 2000s and then the early 90s with the Bash Brothers and everything. They filled the stadiums out. This stadium is terrible. The ownership is terrible. They should be forced to sell the team. It's absolutely ridiculous to take this team away from the fans. And dealing with the Giants, plenty of big cities can have two major teams. Okay, I think the Bay Area is actually bigger than Chicago. Okay, and like I said, and you guys have mentioned all the other Bay Area teams they have around there too. So I think it's bull crap. It's probably going to happen. They're probably going to go to Vegas. I personally don't like it. I hate owners forcing the public to pay for their stadiums, like I said.
Thank you. 248-539-9797. All right, so do you remember a couple years ago Major League Baseball played a game at the Field of Dreams?
Yes.
The Athletic has confirmed that the Giants and Cardinals will play a regular season game next year at historic Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama, where the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro Leagues used to play. The game will honor Willie Mays, according to The Athletic, the Giant legend who previously played for the Barons. We have seen Major League Baseball do this. Field of Dreams, Cooperstown.
Yep.
And now going to an old Negro League stadium in Birmingham, Alabama. We've got one here in Detroit that has recently been renovated. Hamtramck Stadium, where the Detroit Stars played back in the day, just got a $3 million renovation. We could host something like that here.
Maybe.
And it would be awesome. Some of the video from the renovation, I can't say that, I've been there, but I have seen the difference of what it used to look like and what it looks like now. And the crazy thing is, last year, they host tournaments and stuff. Last year, there was a chance that came very close to my son's team almost play there, and I was fired up for it. But really, kind of a cool idea to pay homage to the Negro Leagues and some of the old timers, but also fun. I think Major League Baseball has done a decent job with this, with Field of Dreams, Cooperstown, and now this. But we could host it here.
Well, I think they have done a nice job of those things, but I don't know if hosting it here would make a whole lot of sense other than from the historic reference to it, because it's in Alabama. There's no baseball in Alabama. There's no major league team there. Cooperstown is nowhere near New York City. So it's, these events, and then they got a cornfield in Iowa. Iowa doesn't have a baseball team. But the cool thing for those events to me is that they're in places that don't have Major League Baseball. So, I mean, would I get on board with it if they want to do that here? Yeah, but it's literally in the shadow of Comerica Park.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Detroit would have to give up a home game to do it.
Yeah.
But if they still had Olympia, I'd be in favor of them playing a game at Olympia. I think Michigan State should go play a game at Jenison once a year, and just have some fun with some of these old sites, and you can bring the old players back. And I don't know, think of a throwback idea would be really cool. And the stadium, the seats itself, I would say looks like it might seat in the neighborhood of 900.
Well, that's a problem.
But you know what we didn't have? We didn't have permanent seating here in downtown Detroit. We just held a Grand Prix. So you could always put up some temporary stadium, or some temporary
well,
stadium.
that's true, yeah.
Yep.
As I was watching it go up last week when I was at Detroit Golf Club, as they're preparing for the Rocket Mortgage Classic, there's the temporary seating. They can be constructed quickly.
It can be done, but it also, I think Major League Baseball loves to sort of showcase it, because every time there's one of those games, morbid curiosity draws me in. Whether it's the Little League game or the...
I think it's just curiosity. I don't think it's
morbid.
morbid.
I don't know why I use the term morbid. It's funny because it came out of my mouth, and I'm like, morbid might not apply here. Curiosity.
Just flat out
curiosity.
Yeah.
Regular old standard curiosity draws me
yeah.
in. But yeah, I think it'd be cool. I'd like to see it, and that'd be a fun way to showcase that old stadium and showcase the Negro Leagues here in Detroit, where there's strong representation. I think there's 12 Negro League stadiums left. One in Patterson, New Jersey. What if the team in Pittsburgh? Weren't there two teams in Pittsburgh? I think there were two teams in Pittsburgh back in the day.
There's one in Kansas City.
Yeah. And Kansas City, is Kansas City where they have the Negro Leagues Hall of Fame?
Not sure.
Yeah. Are they the Monarchs?
The Monarchs,
yeah.
I believe, yeah.
So, yes, curiosity would draw me in and be good for the game. 248-539-9797. All right, trade buzz in the NBA. It seems like we are just on the outside looking in. But could that change? We'll get to that coming up at 11:35. At 11:50, the most interesting thing Monty Williams told the morning show. Hear from AJ Hinch talking about, can you make the jump from AA to the majors? In the noon hour. It's Carson Anderson, 97.1, The Ticket.
Hey, did you know there's an actual science behind a perfect night's sleep? Well, the experts at True Sleep Mattress Store have helped thousands, and I'm taking one for a test drive myself. In fact, I just got the pillow, and the pillow has actually made a major difference in how I'm sleeping. And I'm told that there are many health benefits to having the right mattress. So I'm pretty excited because I know that the better sleep is going to equal better performance, which means I'm going to be more alert and I'm going to be better. I'm going to be better for Doug. That's what it comes down to. I'm going to be better for you in the audience.
Well-rested.
Exactly. Well, a well-rested Gator is...
I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I have to admit, I'm a fan.
So find the perfect sleep system, too, at True Sleep in either Troy, Warren, Shelby, or Lake Orion. A lot of Braves fans.
You know, they've hung on to the name Braves. In Cleveland, they changed the name. And instead of calling the Guardians, we go back to when they were called the Tribe. We call them the Gribe.
Yeah.
Are the Tigers taking on the Graves today?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. We're not gonna run with that?
No.
Okay.
No. To this point, they are still the Braves.
I did throw out the name Air Forklift to describe Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, yeah.
I got some positive response for that.
How about the human forklift?
Human forklift?
Is that better than air forklift?
I like air because it's ironic. And I like that. I kind of enjoy that. Human
Gator,
forklift
it's
is
because he
fine.
just saw the movie, so he wants to tell us that he saw a movie. Remember the whole
Right.
Maverick
Yeah.
thing?
Oh, I did. That's right. I did just see a movie. Have you seen it yet?
No.
You really should, Kang. We should talk about it.
Oh, yes, definitely,
Yeah,
right?
for a second day in a row. Yeah, no, I do plan on watching. I almost watched it last night because of the rain delay, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute. There's hockey.
Yep.
There's this thing called the Stanley Cup. Maybe I should watch that.
Yeah. Boy, that got out of hand in a hurry.
That really got out of hand in a
I
hurry.
think Florida got killed with a trident.
It got out of hand the second that Matthew Tkachuk was not going to play. That's when it got out of hand.
Yeah. Well, that
series wasn't close.
no, that was a definitive statement. All right, so look, let's revisit, Gator, how much the results of the NBA draft lottery suck.
Worst team in the league, the Detroit Pistons.
Yep.
Not by a little, but by a lot.
Yep.
And they're not drafting first overall, not second overall, not third overall,
Yep.
not fourth overall, but they're drafting fifth overall.
Well, I will tell you that there was a report today that the New Orleans Pelicans are dangling Zion Williamson to a team with a top 3 pick. So I went and looked it up on the internet. The Pistons, they don't have a top 3 pick.
No, they don't. Yeah.
Because they lost the draft lottery.
That's right.
So we could sit here and talk about whatever they had. It was like a 14% chance of winning the lottery. But they didn't get that. Nor did they get the second pick. Nor did they get the third pick.
No. But
They didn't get the fourth
No.
pick. They had a 40% chance. Now, you can make a strong argument that you shouldn't want Zion Williamson.
I don't want Zion Williamson.
No.
I wouldn't have drafted him first overall years ago, and I don't want him now.
No.
For the same reason. He's
But
an injury waiting to happen.
But Zion Williamson being shopped around for potentially a top 3 pick is an example of how people are after her. And in New Orleans' case, it's Scoot Henderson. And Detroit doesn't have access to Scoot Henderson, most likely. I mean, Detroit doesn't have access to any trade offers for Scoot Henderson. So, it wasn't just the losing. It was the losing it the worst way possible. Now, again, Zion Williamson feels like a young Blake Griffin. Like, yeah, go get him. And there'll be a lot of excitement and buzz, but he'll come to Detroit and be hurt and be a shadow of what he could be.
See, to me, he sounds like an old Blake Griffin.
No, because he's still young.
Yeah, but the problem is that Blake Griffin was actually really
Hold
good
on,
for
let me
several years.
Stop you. A younger version of what Detroit got in Blake
Okay.
Griffin. He would simply be younger, but the trade would have a similar type of feel to it. Yeah.
Would I trade him for the 5th pick overall? Yes. Well, I mean,
You trade the 5th pick.
if I were the Pistons and New Orleans, like, look, we can't get top 3, we can't get top 4. Can we get the 5th pick overall? Pistons, you want him? I'd take him for that.
The problem is I want Taylor Hendricks, and I'd rather have Taylor Hendricks. But bottom line is, if they're not, if they have no shot at getting him, and if they trade him, they wouldn't have a shot at getting him. Now, I don't want him that much, but you trade 5 for Zion?
Sure. That's okay, because I don't know if there's – I mean, of course there's going to be players taking the draft after the top 3 that are going to be good players in the NBA for years to come. Of course there's going to be.
Yep.
Do I trust that Troy Weaver and company can identify who that player is definitively? Or do I want to take a chance that I can get some healthy years out of Zion Williamson, who, when healthy, is extraordinary?
Kang, what do you make of this?
I agree with you, Gator. I know it's a risk. Of course, the kid hasn't played much in his career, NBA career, but when healthy, he was voted a starter for the All-Star game this past year, and I don't think he played a game after that. He didn't even play in the All-Star game. But he's very popular and will bring energy and excitement to this team. But more importantly, would he play, right, and help the team win games? I don't think you're going to get – I mean, we all know the lottery and draft is all about potential and prospects, and you don't know what you're getting. I think with Zion, I think that lottery ticket is better than any 5th overall pick after, because you're not getting Wemby, and Scoot Henderson's probably gone. And if you're a Brandon Miller fan, those are probably the top 3 picks. If for some reason the Pelicans said, screw it, we don't want Zion – even if we can't get Scoot, we got to move him. We'll move him for the 5th overall pick. I'd do it. And it's a risk, of course, but like I said, I'm with Gator. I think it's a risk worth taking. You bring in a potential superstar in this league. You pair him with the young talent you have, and you go.
Yeah, you think about it, if he's healthy, isn't that like he's the perfect complement to the rest of the players they have on his team?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not – you don't need him to handle the basketball. You're not really asking him to shoot from the outside, but you want him to be a menace inside and put up over 20 points a game. He's exactly what the Pistons could use. But there's no guarantee. With him, it's not even oft injured. This guy is trending Greg Oden territory.
Oh, I think he's missed more games than he's played, right?
Yeah.
Can you think about how we got here? Was Zion Williamson the last player before Wembanyama that created this kind of buzz for going number 1 overall?
I believe you're right, Doug.
Yeah, and I don't think it's anywhere near what Wembanyama's buzz is.
Think about 4 years from now being able to get Wembanyama for the 5th pick in the draft or the 3rd pick in the draft.
The player that has that kind of hype.
How bad things have gone that this could be on the table.
Yeah.
And that's, if you think about just hype for hype, Zion, Wembanyama, I mean, we could split hairs, I guess, but similar type of hype. Imagine 4 years from now, Wembanyama being available for something other than the number 1 overall pick. Things will have to have gone really wrong. And they seem to have with Zion. Now, I guess the only way this becomes sort of a question that Detroit would have to deal with is if Scoot, either New Orleans is way more desperate to move on, which I can't imagine they are, but what if Scoot is available at 5? Would you rather have Scoot or would you rather have Zion?
Interesting. I'd probably say Scoot because, he's healthy and he's a very talented player. You wonder on a Pistons team, is it overkill at that position? But because basketball has kind of become positionless.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd take Scoot because of the health factor.
Scoot, look, I've basically gone down the internet wormhole highlights. Explosive, but redundant in Detroit. It's almost like that's what we have Jaden Ivey for, in theory. But it's I'd be intrigued to know how real the Zion talks might actually be.
Well, I would imagine that he doesn't want to be in New Orleans. First of all, wasn't there a report that came out not that long ago that
look at this parking job.
This is the worst ever. You can't be serious.
I mean, that parking job might be the worst.
Now, in fairness,
I've ever seen.
Okay, he's going to straighten it out. Okay, and it is a handicap license plate, I believe. Okay, there you go. All right, back in the right way. But I thought there were reports not that long ago that came out that said Zion Williamson wants out of New Orleans, or there were rumblings of that. So if you're in New Orleans, you're going to have to get something for him. You want something extraordinary, and I don't think a top 5, the 5th pick overall is going to get it done.
Yep.
But beggars can't be choosers. If there's no market for the player, if teams picking at 1, 2, 3, and 4, like, yeah, no, you're not giving me a draft pick, and there's no team out there that wants to give you a player that's, worthy of it, what do you do?
Every time the topic of trades at the top of the draft comes up, I swear Brian Windhorst or whomever mentions Detroit at 5. So the possibility of Detroit trading out of the 5th spot seems to be one that's gaining momentum as we get closer to the draft.
I would expect it to be better than 50% just because Troy Weaver trades all the time when it comes to the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's the first on his mind is, okay, how do I trade this pick? Or how do I get more picks or whatever? I mean, it's extraordinary what he's done, how much movement he's made since he's been the GM of the Pistons in trying to find the right mix of players. And you just look at the roster and how different the roster is now compared to what it was when he took over the job. Is there anybody left on the team?
From when he first took over?
I think he's had complete turnover.
Killian?
Well, maybe Killian Hayes. Oh, well, he drafted Killian.
Then
didn't he?
I don't think there's anybody. 248-539-9797. We got open lines. Carson Anderson outside Comerica Park. Speaking of the Pistons, Monty Williams joined the morning show. We'll play for you the most interesting thing he said to the morning show crew that today at 11:50. Next hour, we'll hear from AJ Hinch. And he talks in general terms, Gator. The guys form the question brilliantly. Hey, how tough is it to make the jump from AA to the majors?
Yeah.
With Colt Keith tearing it up down in Erie. Hear what he had to say in the noon hour leading into Tiger Baseball doubleheader today. 97.1 to take it. All right, the weather is going to start warming right back up, and great time to take advantage of the summer mocktail parties they got going on at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Try one of their refreshing mocktail smoothies now for a limited time, like the new strawberry margarita or the island punch smoothie, or a fan favorite, the watermelon mojito smoothie, and you can order it in the app or online at tropicalsmoothiecafe.com. The strawberry margarita and the island punch smoothies make it a splash at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Try them before this mocktail party is over. Make every day a getaway with the bold flavors and better for your pairings. Only at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Trop brings the goodness with fresh made-to-order smoothies and food. Add more good vibes to your smoothie and customize it like I do. Fresh add-ins like almond, spinach, kale, chia seeds, and ginger. Or supplements like Fat Burner, Energizer, or get your protein powder put in there. Do what I do as well. Order ahead with the app. Then you can take the scenic route or just save a bunch of time. Plus, you earn rewards points by ordering with that Tropical Smoothie Cafe app. Download it for your mobile device today. TropicalSmoothieCafe.com. To find a cafe near you, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, you're on Tropic Time now. Doug Carr, Scott Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Tiger Baseball coming up this afternoon from here at Comerica Park, where we are doing the show from. By the way, you could stream the show with the Odyssey app. Download it for your mobile device today, AUDACY. Great way to take in the program. I know a lot of people choose to do so. Also, you can stream to our website, 971theticket.com. And streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv, where the cameras are live today from down here. So you can see us broadcasting, and people are continuing to make fun of us because we are dressed probably what most people think is inappropriate for today, but where we do the show from is a little chilly.
Well, it's funny because I'm like standing here and there's a chair here that is just sitting, part of it sitting in the sun. It's like 15, it's a 15-degree difference.
Yeah, it really is. But anyway, go watch us on Twitch and make fun of us. Twitch.tv, search up 971 The Ticket. We're also streaming on YouTube, where you can search up 971 The Ticket.
Look at those beautiful animals.
Oh, the Clydesdale? Is that Clydesdale?
Well,
is that
the
Clydesdale?
one
First
is.
one?
Yeah, the first one is, I believe.
Yeah, sure.
Gorgeous.
Horseback police officers.
Mounted
making
police
their way by,
here,
all right, so we've got Monty Williams in town. He was introduced yesterday, and look, we love this selection for a variety of reasons. If you look at what he took over in Phoenix, it was a complete and total mess. And he took them from 19 wins in year. Well, he took over a 19-win team, and in 3 years he went 34 wins, 51 wins, 64 wins. They went to the NBA Finals the year they won 51 games. The year they won 64, he was named Coach of the Year. And they had a core of young players. They had a core of players that they drafted in DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, and Mikal Bridges. And worked out pretty well for them. On top of that, they signed Chris Paul. Now, if you look at the Pistons, they have a core of young players. Then in Cade Cunningham, Ivy, and Duren, they've got a top 5 pick, and they've got cap space. It feels like an opportunity is here to turn this thing around. And, he's been a part of something like that. So can he come here and mimic the success? Seems like the formula indeed might be there. Anything stand out to you, Monty Williams said yesterday?
I appreciate that he was honest about that money played a big factor. Mm-hmm. I love that the story came out about how he did accept the job, and of course money was a big part of it, but the bigger part was just the Tom Gores story. I think that ended up being the story of the press conference, is that Tom Gores wanted Monty Williams, but understood that Monty Williams was going through a tough time, had just been fired, his wife diagnosed with breast cancer, and that's a lot, to deal with. And so Tom Gores waited a little bit and then got back. They had Troy Weaver get back in contact with them, and they put together a plan that would make sense for Monty Williams, not only as coach of the Pistons, but Monty Williams as, husband to his wife, father to his kids, where they could, make sure that her health was a priority, and use of the jet and all these other things that were put in there. And, hey, your doctors are still going to be part of this, and let's make you as comfortable as possible, and we'll be a support for you and in every way possible. And I think it was a real amazing gesture from the owner of the Pistons, and he wins a lot of people over with that, because his approval rating was horrible going into that. So I like that. I like that Monty Williams is a no-nonsense kind of guy. He's a straight shooter. He's can be an emotional guy. I think he's a coach that players will really appreciate and like. And when you start to compare the talent that is that he had in Phoenix and the talent that he's got here in Detroit, I think there are some really good comparisons there. And, maybe even there's potential to be better when you look at it. You look at Bridges and Booker, compare that to Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey. I mean, there's potential for that to work out nicely. But the comparison with Ayton and Duren, Ayton, people will say, is the reason that Phoenix couldn't go further.
Yep.
Jalen Duren was the youngest player in the league last year and has extraordinarily high ceiling on what he can become. That, to me, is a really enticing piece of this team here moving forward, plus whatever else they add in. So they'll bring some veterans in eventually, whether it's this year or next year, and hopefully some good free agents to go.
I don't want to misread you. Are you saying you're more excited about Duran than you are Cunningham and Ivy?
No, I'm
Okay,
excited
all right.
for him to be better than what Ayton is.
Okay,
I guess is what
okay.
I'm saying.
Gotcha. All right, so here was Monty Williams, Stoney. I think it was Stoney asked him the question. Talk about your young backcourt, Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. And here's what he told the morning show. So a couple things stand out here as far as, what he had to say. I love the comparison that he's comparing Jaden Ivey to Mikal Bridges. Bridges, under Monty Williams' tutelage, became one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. And Cade Cunningham gave him problems when they played against Monty Williams' coach Phoenix teams. So, there's a lot of symmetry here to like. Jaden Ivey, I think that interview was done at 8:40, and he said Jaden was in the gym before 8 o'clock. So, and how about the Cade Cunningham has an old school game, kind of an old game, and I think that's true. I mean, I think he does. Just put the ball in the basket. Not always about the flash, but that he's not the kind of player that probably ends up on SportsCenter as much as some others. But who really cares if he helps you win?
No, just win. And he's got leadership in spades. That's what I really like about Cade Cunningham, and it's unfortunate we didn't get to see more of it this past season. But even while he was rehabbing, he was still leading, and that's a bright spot for this team.
Kang, what did you make of the comments about the young Piston backcourt?
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to, different situations with Phoenix, of course, but, I mean, you can't help but draw some comparisons because they were young and not – they weren't fully developed in their game yet. And that's what we have here in Detroit is we have young players that aren't, their game hasn't hit their ceiling yet, of course. They're young and injured and things like that. But that's where Monty Williams comes in, and you hope that he gets the most out of this backcourt because this is what the future is. And then you mentioned Jalen Duran, Gator. I'm crazy excited about him like you are. His athleticism, his age, I don't think that we realize – how good he could be until we actually saw him hit the floor against other grown men, and his body, grown man body, right? that guy, he came in the NBA with an NBA body. Now he's just got to learn the NBA game. So with Monty Williams, they went out and they pursued this guy relentlessly. It seems like with the fact that with cautiously though, because you're right, Gator. They mentioned the way Tom Gorris did it, gave him time, gave him resources, whatever he needed. And let him make his decision, and they threw the bag at him. And that's what part of the reason why Monty Williams is your coach here now. And I think it's going to be worth it in the end.
Didn't you see Jalen Duran in the airport?
Yes. I was coming back from Vegas, actually, last year.
Of course you were.
Yeah. It was, well, I'm a resident, guys. I was coming back from a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and we're talking about we're talking about trash day or something, I forget. But anyways, I got that moved to Tuesdays. So that's a perfect day to take your trash out. So I saw him. I see this big guy right from the back. So I mean, you don't know who it is. Just a taller guy. You see tall people, but this guy was legit 6'9". He turns around, I'm like, oh my God, it's Jalen Duren. And then I see how broad his shoulders are, and I'm like, this guy's 18, 19 years old? Are you kidding me? And no one knew who he was yet, unless you follow Memphis basketball. He stood out, but I think other than just being tall, I don't think anyone knew who he was. But, yeah, he looked ready to play right there and then. So, big guy, athletic, of course, and you saw flashes this past year.
Well, it'll be intriguing. It was funny because Monty pointed out one problem he saw with the Pistons last year. He said he saw a team that could take a lead into halftime and then lose it. And he said it's a composure thing, and it's something they got to get better at. And it's something that, he wants to teach and correct moving forward. And it was something I didn't really think about until he said it. I'm like, yeah, he's right. He's right.
Well, yeah, and part of obviously defense is the number one issue with the Pistons because they gave up way too many points, and they would give them up in bunches. And when you do it in bunches, it is a composure issue.
Yep. 248-539-9797. All right, Scott Harris yesterday spoke about some improvements that he's seen the Tigers make under the hood. In the meantime, AJ Hinch spoke with the morning show. Hear the most interesting thing he had to say. That at 11:20. It's Carson Anderson outside Comerica Park.
How about 12:20?
12:20. 11:20 somewhere. Carson Anderson outside Comerica Park here on 97.1 The Ticket. Kang's back at our studios, crew down here keeping us on the air. We appreciate it. And Tiger Baseball coming up this afternoon as we are broadcasting from outside Comerica Park here on 97.1 A Ticket, streaming on the Odyssey app and through our website, 971aticket.com, streaming with video today on twitch.tv and YouTube. Check us out down here as we bring you the show on Gator. Today is National Bourbon Day.
Is it now?
It is.
Wow. I do like me some bourbon.
I know you like your some bourbon.
Yes.
So on a day like today,
Yeah.
what does an aficionado like yourself like to sample when you get home from work?
Well, I would probably, because it's National Bourbon Day, I would have it probably on the rocks.
Okay.
And I would go into lots of choices at the Gator household.
I know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. It's a special occasion, so I'd probably go with the single barrel Coppercraft straight bourbon.
Yep.
That's really good. I've got a couple other special bottles in the house, different stuff I have. There's a bottle of Blanton's. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bottle of Yellowstone that I have in the house. I really like Yellowstone. And Breckenridge is another one I really like, too.
Gotcha.
But it's for the special occasion. And if it was yesterday, for instance, yesterday would have been a Flying A Spirits Day.
Why yesterday?
It's an everyday sipper. But for
Okay.
the special occasions,
For
I'm going to
Bourbon
bust
Day.
out.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Today is also National Strawberry Shortcake Day.
There.
Oh, not a fan.
It's all right. I'm not a fan of strawberries.
Really?
No, I like strawberry flavor. I don't like strawberries.
Him and Tom Brady.
Well, I don't know. Does Brady like strawberry flavor?
I don't know. He doesn't. I just. It was true at one point that he had never had a strawberry.
Yeah, I've just never been a fan of the strawberry.
I'm just the opposite. I love the strawberry. I do not like the strawberry flavor.
Interesting.
Yep.
You are a weird dude, though. In fairness.
Wait a second.
All due respect.
Out of all of the things that I have said and all of my preferences, liking strawberries.
No, it's not about liking strawberries. It's just about Kang will back me up. It's just the whole food thing in general. And then when you add to that your whole food and diet, when you add to that, I love strawberries, but I don't like strawberry flavor, that I think it rings a little odd.
Well, I like the flavor of an actual strawberry. I don't like the flavor like when it's artificial, like strawberry flavored stuff.
Did you throw a carrot in your mouth?
What are you doing a show with Bugs Bunny, Gator?
Yeah, I am actually.
Exactly what Bugs does after he makes a point or something, grabs a carrot,
right.
doesn't he?
Yeah.
First of all,
Bugs
you're
chews a little
both weird on the strawberry thing. I love strawberries and I love the flavor. That's just strawberries are awesome. But overall, Gator, your analysis of Doug's dietary, I guess whatever you want, how he eats things. Yeah, I hate his food decisions. I've always have.
Yeah.
But Doug is going to live way longer than all of us because he's making the healthy choice for the most part. And I respect him. You eat what you like. Every time Doug starts talking about food, I'm like, why? Why?
So it's National Bourbon Day. It's National Strawberry Shortcake Day. But most importantly for me, today is National Cucumber Day.
Well, I like cucumbers.
So what about a combination like cucumber in bourbon? Does that work?
I don't think so.
Okay. What about a cucumber shortcake?
I don't think so. No, but what's funny is that the bourbon and the shortcake do, because you could soak the shortcake in bourbon.
Right.
And then assemble it however you want to make your strawberry shortcake.
Jansen hates cucumbers.
Really?
It was I heard him this morning. There was a deep hostility towards cucumbers. And I was thinking, I think for the non-vegetable eater, cucumber's about as far as they will go.
I got to tell you, I think he's way off, and I think he's missing the opportunity. The cucumber is the sliced cucumber is a tremendous vessel for dips.
Yeah, that's true.
It's great. You get the French onion dip. I love the old school French onion dip with some heavy potato chip dip, and that's awesome. You do it with a cucumber, yes. Ranch.
So, you know how you guys on occasion will make fun of me and what I like?
Just occasionally.
Yes. Go figure my kids do the same.
Huh.
There's been a recent development in the Karsh household where the kids are really making fun of Dad because I have a new favorite thirst-quenching drink.
A thirst-quenching drink?
Yep.
Did they make fun of you for milk?
No, they don't. My kids, especially the boys right now, because they're both, like, working out, so they think they should drink milk.
Getting swole.
But, that's right. Yep, that's right. It is.
Thirst-quenching.
Do you want to guess before I tell you?
I got to guess.
Go ahead, King.
All right.
You guess first.
Cucumber water, since we're talking about
I was just going to say cucumber water.
You're in the ballpark.
Lemon water?
Again, in the ballpark. There is a cucumber lime Gatorade Zero that has become my go-to. Love it.
I don't understand you at all. The Gatorade Zero flavors, they've got a million of them, right?
Yeah.
Any one of them can be fantastic.
Yeah.
But you choose
the worst ones.
The cucumber lime.
I love it. I just love it.
Like, there's the glacier ice, which has like a cherry flavor to it, is delicious.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a grape, there's a cherry, there's probably an orange flavor. All these great Gatorade flavors, and you're going to go with cucumber
lime Gatorade Zero. It's my new go-to. Which, by the way, means it'll be off the shelves within the next 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
Because when I like stuff, I'm typically the only one, and I got it.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, to each
We're
their
well
own.
aware of it, Doug. We're well aware.
Not mad at you. I hope you're not mad at me, but I will just say.
I'm not mad at you.
You watch. Gatorade will discontinue cucumber lime. Same way Busch Light discontinued Busch Light Apple. Same way Sierra Nevada discontinued the Otravez. Everything Doug likes goes away. The Chelada's probably on borrowed time.
It should never have started.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. All right, Nayrock on Twitch says cucumber lime Gatorade is legit. Thank you.
I'm sure it's fine, but, would that be your go-to?
It's my favorite. Don says sounds nasty. It's just like music, right?
Okay, sure, I guess. Music, everybody's got their own, and that's fine,
Yeah.
But flavors are different, I think.
Well, cucumber lime Gatorade. Zero. Try it. The kids are like, I can't believe Dad's drinking that crap.
Right,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
They're just hopeful that you're not going to bring home only that flavor.
No, I get them their reds and their oranges and their yellows, but I got my own thing. All right, Tigers this afternoon. Hey, Reese Olson pitches today.
Yes, he does.
Reese Olson pitches today. It'll be his third appearance. He didn't start the game last week, but looked good the first two. Nice to see him getting rolling. A little bit later on, we'll hear from AJ Hinch and what he likes about him, but looks like the kid's got some nasty stuff. Now, it's all about sustainability.
There you go.
And you just don't prove anything in 2 starts, let alone 3. But we'll get a chance to see him pitch today. I'm looking forward to it. But it's been encouraging. That might be a find for this team, and especially when there's not much to be encouraged about.
No, not much at all.
Yeah. So that's what we have to look forward to today. AJ Hinch talked about a number of things. Does Javi need a rest? And is there help in the minors? Hear what he had to say starting today at 12:20. Leading into Tiger Baseball doubleheader today. Carson Anderson, 97, won a ticket. If you want to watch the Tigers and take them in today, why not do so with your favorite Stoli cocktail? There's nothing like quenching your thirst with a Stoli blueberry lemonade or a cucumber mule on National Cucumber Day. And there's the newest flavor of Stoli, the chamoy. As the weather breaks, you can sit outside on the patio and enjoy Stoli Premium Vodka, proudly made in Latvia, and is ready to be served at your next party or special occasion. It's the summer of Stoli. Please enjoy responsibly. Doug Carr, Scott Anderson outside Comerica Park, 248-539-9797. Let's go to the phones. Phil, you're on 97.1 The Ticket.
Gentlemen, how we doing?
Phil!
So I want you talking about the cucumber lime zero Gatorade.
Yeah.
Try it. Have you tried it? Put it in the freezer for a little bit, and then get it when it's like frozen slushy.
I have not.
It's so good.
I like it.
It's amazing.
I like the way you're thinking, Phil.
Maybe add some gin.
That's all I wanted to say. Just recommend that, because that's usually what I do with all my Gatorades. I put them in the freezer, and then once they turn into a little slushy, drink them then.
I like to put
good.
stuff in the freezer for a few minutes. Beer.
Hey, you're a freezer guy.
Yeah, I put stuff in the freezer and then pull it out before it.
What about kale in the freezer?
So no, I don't do that.
No?
No, I don't. But, I make the kale was the base for the superfood salad that you can make that Chick-fil-A used to serve. It's very good. Yeah. What would you mix, by the way, the cucumber lime Gatorade? Would it be gin?
I think you could go a number of different ways. You can go with vodka. You can go any of the clear spirits.
Go with the
Sure.
Stoli, yeah. Okay. We go to Sean next here on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, Sean. We lost Sean. All right. So, Gator.
Doug.
This morning, AJ Hinch on the morning show.
Yes.
One of the big topics, right, is what to do with the everyday lineup. And there's not an abundance of players down on the farm, but the ones that the Tigers have there have gotten some attention. So the question comes up about whether or not help could be on the way for the Detroit Tigers from the minors. Here's what AJ Hinch told the morning show.
I know Malloy has had, terrific months. He's also had a bad month, and now he's kind of in between right now. He had a home run last night. The Meadows hit a home run last night. We're paying attention to what's going on, but we got our focus here on getting guys healthy. We've got Riley back. Hopefully it heals and heals quickly as well. Riley Green, we just got Carpenter back. But, I would love for Austin Meadows to start doing baseball activities, but we're working out with the patient with him. There's a lot of answers that we've had here.
So, one thing you discover when you do these jobs is that fans want to move way quicker than teams almost ever do. It's rare that you hear fans call up and say, well, that was quick. It's usually fans call up and say, it's about damn time. And so there's a bunch of guys up here that fans have seen enough. And I mean, we just did this, of course. Such a hot button topic a few years ago was Joe Jimenez, right?
Yeah.
Help for the bullpen, help for the bullpen, help for the bullpen. And the teams and the organizations that see him play every day, it's not like they're being – I don't think they're being stubborn. Maybe you do. And we could talk about it. I don't think they're being stubborn. I think they're seeing the whole picture and realizing calling a guy up now their statistics aren't a reflection of their readiness.
Well, there's a difference, I think, when it comes to pitchers and position players. I think with pitchers, they're always going to be pretty cautious about it because each level you matriculate through the minor leagues presents more difficult challenges. And, of course, the same thing goes with position players. But it feels like if you can tear it up hitting somewhere,
yep,
and you do it long enough, that you're going to get promoted pretty quickly and you'll get a look at it. Sometimes it's you don't want to waste the great effort in the minors, and then you bring somebody up and they do exactly what they were doing in the minors, and you feel like, oh, did we waste it? Like you could talk about Kerry Carpenter last year and his time spent at AA and AAA. he was phenomenal. And you're like, at some point, good God, bring this guy up. And it brought it up, and it gave the team a little bit of a lift, and he was one of the better offensive players. And so I'll be cautious when it comes to the pitchers. When it comes to a Ty Madden, for instance, right? He's had ups and downs. He hasn't been lights out great. He has had some of those starts, but he's had a lot of other starts too. But with Colt Keith, he showed last year he owned when he was healthy. He owned it in the fall. He owned it. He's at Double-A. He's owning Double-A. He's got an OPS of over 1,000 now, and this isn't a 1-month sample here. This is 2 months into the season plus, and he's killing it. So, do you need to promote him right away to the majors, or do you need to let him see some time in the AAA ball? I'm fine either way, but I think we could all probably agree, and I would imagine AJ Hinch is ready to say this too at some point real soon. He's done all he can do at Double-A. There's nothing else he needs to prove there. And I don't – you talk about how quickly things happen and fans want it to happen a lot faster than the teams do. I think teams are very cautious about it. I think it's funny, the example of the opposite way where things happen faster than fans expected was the Lions.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't done anything yet, right? They're 0-0 before the season begins, but the expectation now is sky high because this thing happened so quickly, because they went 8-2 in the last 10 games.
Colt Keith, 211 at-bats at Erie, 12 home runs. He's hitting .332, OPSing at 1.001, so just over 1,000. Yep. All right, so, and he's the one that gets, it seems like the bulk of the attention lately. The topic has come up. Can you make the jump from Double-A to the majors? Do you have to go to Triple-A? That question was asked in great generalities. The guys were careful to say, we're not saying this about Colt Keith, but in general, can you go from Double-A to the majors? Here's what AJ Hinch told the morning show.
Obviously, because there's just things that you learn along the way that they need time and games to do that way. Like whether it's just to learn. I think there's defensive things, there's base running things, there's things the way you're being pitched for veteran pitcher coming down from the big leagues versus the hot prospect trying to throw 98 every pitch in Double-A. It's just different. So there's a leap to AAA, let alone to the big league. So I don't know what the overall plan is exactly. That's obviously Scott and Garth, and we talk about it all the time. But I think Colt has done a good job of trying to learn a couple different positions. He's playing both infield positions. He's DH a little bit. He's continued to hit, which is good. It's a new challenge ahead of him. Again, I'm not making a decision, but I would assume it would be the next level more than it would be a quantity.
I almost wonder, Gator, if the Tigers were better, if they'd expedite his jump. Like if the Tigers were really competing in this division, had maintained that game and a half, behind the first place team, I wonder if they'd be a little bit more forthright to expediting his rise up the minors. Because it doesn't sound like he's going from Double-A to the majors.
It doesn't sound that way, no. But we had the article from Cody Stavenhagen from the Athletic the other day that said that it could be a short-lived stint at AAA if he performs well, because it's just what it is. It's confirmation.
Yeah.
He's hot. He's hitting really well. Is it because he's hot, or is it because he's a really good player? I would argue it's probably because he's a really good player. But you get Pat Caputo was making a comparison to Corbin Carroll from Arizona, who's having a tremendous season, hitting .313. He's got 14 home runs, and he's very young. And what he had in the minors, he had less at bats in the minors, and was promoted. So, you take your chances when you can. Worry about ruining the psyche of the player, or are they mentally ready and prepared for it? I mean, that's to be determined by the managers and the coaching staffs. If they think that he can't handle it yet, he needs to mature more, understand, fair enough. But if a player is mentally mature enough to handle it, why not bring them up if they're physically ready?
All right, let's go to Robert. You're on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, Robert.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, hi.
Go ahead, Robert.
My question was, I don't understand why Hinch keeps putting Miggy on the bench. I know early in the season he wasn't hitting that well, but he's been hitting really good lately. And, if he's going to keep him out of the games 50% of the time, he's going to cost him anywhere from 250 to 280 at-bats, which will equate to at least 50 or 60 hits. We're not going to win. We're not going to win this league based on our record. Why can't we at least watch Miggy do his best to get the highest he can on his hit list? They put in Nick Madden, who's batting 160-something, and they got him in number 5. They keep Miggy down in number 7. That just don't make no sense to me.
Well, I would imagine that the way that Miggy plays is a combination of what Miggy wants and what AJ Hinch wants. I think they hash this. They probably talk every day about, how to handle him, how to handle his at-bats. Do they want to give him at-bats only in matchups that make sense against left-handed pitching? I'm sure these discussions take place. It's not done without Miggy's approval, I'm sure. But to your point, he has started to swing the bat better lately. Was hitting .444 in his last 6 games, I believe, and that's nice to see. And he's got a couple doubles in that time too. I'd like to see more of him if Miggy, but it's up to Miggy, I would imagine, first and foremost.
I don't want Hinch giving up on the season and just playing Miggy to get the most hits he can get, as high as he can get on the hit list. No matter how unrealistic it is that this team competes, I'm not giving up in June.
I'm not giving up in June, but I'll tell you what, I don't need to see Nick Maton hit $162 again.
Well, maybe not, but
and this goes into, because it's the DH position, right?
Yep.
So this goes back into the whole Colt Keith or Justin Henry Malloy discussion. When can you bring somebody up if they're not ready to play in the field defensively? Okay, but they can hit.
But hey, remember my core belief: teams move slower than fans want them to. 248-539-9797. All right, what does he like about Reese Olson? Hear what the manager of the Tigers had to say about today's Game 1 starter. Young kid who's looked pretty good in his first 2 appearances. We'll get to that today at 12:35. Hey, discover how good your water can be, like we did, with a new Kinetico system that removes 99% of contaminants. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Do not be the filter. Get clean, purified water and reduce plastic bottle waste. Call 855-339-4242 or visit cgcwater.com. Financing available with approved credit this month. Get 50% off Kinetico K5 drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, your authorized independent Kinetico dealer. Doug Carson, Scott Anderson outside Comerica Park. Tiger Baseball coming up shortly. AJ Hinch was on the morning show, and we were playing you some of the best of, the most interesting stuff he had to say. You heard what he said about help from the minors and the jump from Double-A to the majors, which is some people are wanting to see Cole Keith do it. It doesn't sound like that is anywhere in the near term. But, all right, so remember earlier in the year, where was it? Was it at Toronto where Javi had a really bad game?
Yes.
And they pulled him out of the game, and AJ talked about focus, and Javi got it together in the immediate wake after that, right?
Yes, he took, I believe, had the next day off and then started to hit very well.
So does Javi need a reset again? Here's what AJ Hinch told the morning show.
But that's not been abnormal for him. He's just been this sort of rangy, outcome type guy that we just got to keep encouraging and keep putting him out there. You know, I can think about a day off here in the coming days. He's going to play both games today, so maybe I'll give him a day off in the next first series. But one thing Javi doesn't respond well to is like eyelids. He's not a guy who sits and takes a deep breath and really likes to the gap in time. It kind of makes his mind wander a little bit. He doesn't. That's very good. I think the refocus part of actually taking a goal and having him gauge himself on how well he's seeing the ball. Let's just see the ball for as many pitches as he can tonight and see what happens. That worked the other night. Another challenge a little bit better, obviously, but to me, that's more appropriate than a reset. Reset is global method.
Okay. And at one point, the guys asked about maybe moving him around in the order.
Yeah.
And without saying it, he said there's nobody at the bottom of the order who's earning the at-bats at the top of the order.
Yeah, I didn't like the response as much.
Yeah.
From that one, because you're batting a guy like, and it's not as much against Javi Baez as it was because he was mentioning Nick Maton. Nick Maton's hitting 162, and he continues to be hit fourth or fifth in the lineup. And I guess if I had a question to ask AJ Hinch, it would be, are the secondary numbers, are they telling you that you're expecting him to get better results than what he's gotten, like with Abangas and Torkelson, and how maybe that's starting to change now? Or is it just a gut feeling or what? Because 162 is horrible. I don't care what you say about guys in the bottom aren't willing, they're not hitting well enough to be promoted up higher. But he sure as hell isn't hitting high enough to stay there. Like Eric Haas is hitting like 200. I'd rather see Eric Haas hit clean up than Nick Maton. Now he also said that because he's left-handed, it's a big reason why. Well, you can slide Kerry Carpenter down, let him hit clean up if that's what you want to do. If you need to have a left-handed cleanup hitter, I mean, you just got a left-handed bat in the lineup in Kerry Carpenter. Use him that way. But I don't look. I'm not telling him how to do his job by any means.
You sure about that?
No, I am. This has been a season-long frustration with Nick Maton because I do think he's got talent, but he's just he can't get out of his own way right now. He can't hit a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch, and he's just not putting it in play enough when he gets a fastball. And talk about a reset. Maybe this is a guy who desperately needs a reset because he's got to. I think he needs time back in the minors.
All right, so the one other thing
How oblivious was that?
I don't know.
Is that, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, totally oblivious?
Totally oblivious, I would say 9.7.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough.
One of the challenges when we're on remote is when people come up to talk to us when we're on the air.
Yeah.
They want to talk. And when we talk back, it goes out over the
I just thought, in the middle of a conversation that we were having
right.
here, that would have been, that's why the 1 to 10 scale of oblivious comes to mind.
Okay. Reese Olson, young kid, 2 good outings. AJ Hinch, what do you like?
first couple of games. A lot of times these guys come up and they want to announce their presence there. So people comfortable is being set and everybody, comes up, come in the strike zone. And the thing they do at the most of it is their fastball. They get a little too fastball from it. And you look at that way, that lineup is really stacked. And if you were predictable, if you get into bad count, so fast, I mean, it's going to be a long day for you. So his first two games, he's been very mature. One time in the rotation, the other time the open for him. Second, Harper, he came in as unflappable. Right? I love his demeanor. I love his conviction that I've got three weapons. I can throw them whenever I want, and I can get him to leverage counts. And that spin on his breaking ball is on the elite side. And if he can utilize that correctly, we've got a pretty good one.
Gator, it's fun on TV when it really translates. When you can see, holy crap, that was a nasty pitch.
Yeah.
And I've probably said that about Reese Olson. Well, I'll just say way more than I expected in his first couple of appearances, where I was like, wow.
No, I would agree with that.
He's got the stuff.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks poised out there, and he's had a couple of nice starts to begin his major league career. You hope he can just keep stacking them up.
And he gets another shot today at the Braves. Look, Tigers, they've dug a hole. The Minnesota series has very little chance of being what we hoped it would be. But if they sweep today, maybe they'll get people interested in what could happen this weekend. Obviously, nobody in this division is distinguishing themselves. Riley Green, that was one of the updates. Riley Green's not going to make that trip. They got him on the gravity treadmill so that he's not putting any real weight on his injured leg, the stress fracture. And Eduardo Rodriguez is throwing reasonably hard. But my guess is they're hoping to get him up and have a few good outings before the trade deadline. It's probably more motivation than winning games.
That would be ideal.
Yep. But could they use some starting pitching? And could Reese Olson provide it? He could. Bullpen's been better at times than expected, and just try and find a way to piece it together. But they just broke a 9-game losing streak.
Right. I mean, that was such a killer. To lose 9 in a row is brutal. You find yourself 10 games under 500 right now, and they were so close.
We really did see it coming.
They were a game below 500, and boom.
Yep. But when the injury started to pile up, so not the best. All right, so Scott Harris spoke yesterday. Said he was happy with some of the stuff that was going on as far as strike zone discipline. Here's the straight data, all right? You ready? The Tigers went from an 8.5% walk rate last year, the pitchers, which was 20th in the majors. They're now 7.6% walk rate, which is 4th in the majors. Major improvement there. Tiger hitters, they improved from a 6.5% walk rate at the plate, 29th in the majors, to a 9.1% walk rate this year, 8th in the majors. Top 10 in both. Top 10 in both. So that's the under-the-hood stuff he's been talking about, and the organization has a philosophy. Now they just need more talent.
Yeah. Well, they need to take advantage of it. When you're getting on base, bring those guys home. Come up with a timely hit. And as you're getting on base more because of walks, it means you're seeing more pitches, which means hopefully everybody's paying attention. You can all see more pitches, and maybe it's more predictable when you get to your at-bats.
All right, Tiger Baseball for Game 1 of 2 coming up next. Thanks to our crew down here at Comerica getting us on the air and keeping us on the air. And thanks to the crew back at the studio. Big help today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Stay safe, everyone, and treat each other with respect.